Now you can go back to Zoom.
I think it's heading there right now. And we're live on Facebook. All right, it just takes a minute for the screen to pop up. Okay, hey. Hello. Brad Thompson, founder of Red Key, coming at you again with a real talk. Today I'm with Theresa Cashman. Theresa is the founder of Clearing Space. And we're going to be talking a little bit about her business and what she does and what we can all be doing while we have a little extra time on our hands at home and not being quite as productive maybe as if we're in the office. So hello, Theresa. How are you doing today?
I'm excellent. How are you doing?
I'm very good, very good. So I was talking to Theresa just a few minutes ago about these difficult times, and it seems like every day there's more news about what's happening out there. So I thought we'd spend our time today getting organized, and that's something that I take pride in, and I think I do a pretty good job, but from some of my conversations with Theresa, I've learned a few things, and she has some great ideas that I'm eager to get into. So Theresa, let me ask you the first question. Tell me a little bit about your business, how you got started, what inspired you, and just share with the audience about what's going on. Hey guys, thanks for coming.
Sure. So Clearing Space is a professional organizing company. I started it after leaving teaching. I was a middle and high school science and chemistry teacher for 10 years. And when I left teaching, I was looking for a new venture where I could be my own boss, where I could be of service and utilize my strengths. And organizing definitely fits the bill for all of those, ticks all those boxes.
Have you always been organized?
I think so, more or less. It's just, my brain loves doing it, you know? Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Have you seen a trend or maybe a group of people that gravitate toward the need for your services? Would it be younger people needing that or older people? Do you have a demographic that you see more of than others?
It's funny. It's less demographics and more personal psychology and attachment styles and things like that. It's really interesting.
Well, tell me, what do you mean by that? So, you know, the psychological profiles and
Right. So it really depends, right? It is a wide range of people that I serve. I've been focusing in on helping retirees and seniors do their downsizing. Okay. And just assisting with finding good homes for various items if they are either staying in their home or moving out. And so, yeah, it really depends. A lot of folks are like me and just need a little assistance in getting started. Okay. And their brain kind of runs with it, and we get, just kind of get the job done. All right. And other folks really struggle with this stuff, especially if there's any sort of ADD or ADHD stuff going on with the client where, they struggle with that executive functioning and that sort of thing. Okay. And I love being of assistance to those folks too, where they can utilize my brain strengths and I can help them get their space organized and efficient to their liking.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're helping with that, some of those stressful things. I've learned a long time ago in business that there's something called a third-party tool, meaning that if you're close to somebody, let's say I'm really close to my mom, and making those decisions with her on what to keep and what to throw away can be difficult. But by using somebody like you to come in and say, hey, you're the expert, help be the liaison or the facilitator on some of those things. I'm sure you see that from time to time, don't you?
Definitely. Quite a few of my clients are actually the sons and daughters of the folks that I'm actually helping. Okay. And that's definitely true. I get to be the bad guy in a lot of situations. But like you said, that is usually taken, it's a little gentler when it's coming from that third party, from someone who's not emotionally invested in that.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So have you had to deal with any people that you might want to call a hoarder?
Yeah. I tell people hoarding is like hurricanes. It's, there are categories, right? Yeah. So as Americans, most of us have more than we actually physically need. And
That's true.
so most of us do qualify. And I count myself as a hoarder level 1. We've just got more than we physically need, and that sort of qualifies us, and that's okay.
Okay.
Um, when it gets into situations where it's dangerous to someone's health, then you're talking more about a 3 or 4 or 5 kind of thing.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, hoarding definitely results from unresolved trauma for the most part. And so whenever I come across someone who's working through that, I ensure that that they are enrolled in cognitive behavioral therapy, that they're getting lots of socialization, because those are the things that are actually going to help solve this problem.
Wow.
Having me come in is great,
I
but as you can imagine, it'll come back if it's
I
not.
never thought about it from that perspective. You're really taking organization to a different level, and from the psychological perspective, and the problems that some people have, and why they have more things than others, or more things than they need, or multiple of the same thing. I recently heard a story from a friend of mine that they were in the process of moving and downsizing his wife's parents, and he collected tools, not just to use, but he had 10 drills and 15 sanders. And he thought there was a need, and he's right, there's a need and a purpose for each one of those things. But there becomes at a point of extreme. He goes, I only need one drill. That's all I need, right? And for most of us, but there are exceptions from that perspective. And I thought of you during this conversation with him. It's like, you need to talk to Theresa. She might be able to help you
Definitely.
with that.
And there are as many solutions as there are people, right? Everyone, this is a very highly individualized process.
Yes, I can imagine. And every project. Have you ever had to fire yourself from a project just because you just didn't see a reasonable outcome on working with a client?
Yeah, I have. Especially again, when you're talking about someone who's working through hoarding stuff, if they're not also getting the psychological assistance to move through that, then working with me is not going to be effective, and I'm not out to just take someone's money. So
It's not one or the other, it's a combination of bringing those together. So
right,
that's interesting.
right.
So let me ask you, in helping people to become better organized and clearing out some things, obviously you do a lot more than just closets, kitchens, and offices. What else do you do?
Garages, basements, attic. No, I'm just kidding.
Every room in the
Those
house.
are very popular too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I really do try to again assist with whatever that specific client is looking to accomplish. I recently had a young lady who had been she's been married for coming up on 60 years. They've been in that home since the 80s, and her husband is a huge collector of paper, and not unnecessarily it's all well categorized and filed, but they're just at a point in their life where they're not in need of any of that anymore. He's dealing with some health issues, and she's looking to move into assisted living. So over the last few months, I've helped them throw away over 2,000 pounds of paper.
Good Lord,
Amazing.
that's a
Yep.
lot. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um, Another client of mine referred me to her daughter, who has a husband and 2 girls under 2, and they've just moved to Denver and just needed some help getting unpacked so that they could continue to function with their little ones, and focus on them and take care of them. So
Okay.
I grabbed another one of my organizer friends, and we jumped in and got them fully unpacked in a very full day. But it was
Yeah. So the projects not only vary in scope in what you're doing, but they also vary in time. Sounds like, some projects are started and finished in one day or less, maybe, and other projects go on for longer. What's the longest project that you've worked with somebody on?
absolutely. Oh gosh. I did work with a lady who wanted to move slowly, and I totally support that when that time is available. It's much better to do downsizing slowly, I think, for our hearts and the emotions that go with all that stuff. And that was an 8-month project. We were working on our house one little closet at a time.
Wow. And patience come into play with that. And you build relationships, obviously, over that amount of time.
Absolutely, definitely.
So I loved our connection that we made a couple months ago, and the realization that, I used to play trumpet in a jazz band that you used to dance at. And, as soon as we made that connection, we were both smiling and beaming. And then you had another smile on your face when I shared with you what I have created with Red Key to help people organize their life and legacy data. And, the word organize is my vocabulary and what I do and your vocabulary. So tell me why you got excited about Red Key quickly.
Definitely. So once I'm done with a project with a client, I'm always sure to ask them, is your CPA, are you happy with your CPA and your attorney and your estate planners? And do you have all these other pieces in order and organized? And to have your USB available that is just so easy to hand them and say, hey, here's one more tool you can use to make sure that your loved ones have all the paperwork they need in case of emergency, that medical staff have all that access. And it's just such a wonderful tool. I'm really excited about it.
Awesome. Awesome. And I'm excited about your excitement. So thanks for being excited.
Definitely.
One last question. What are the one or two tips that you might have for people over the next, let's say, month, since a lot of us are going to be spending more time inside in our homes? What can we be doing right now to be a little better organized?
Yeah, definitely. Routine is huge, right? And making sure that you've got a clear space and a clear time if you're working from home. Even if that means you're just setting up, a desk in a closet or part of the kitchen table, but making sure that you've designated that space and that time for yourself if you're working from home. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the nitty gritty of organizing and all that, there is so much good information out there. You're welcome to read my blogs and call me and all that good stuff. But
where do we find the blogs? What's your website?
Of course, tlcclearingspace.com.
Okay, tlcclearingspace.com. To learn more tips and to get more ideas to how to become better organized. And of course, talk to Theresa. And if you found this interview helpful, please give me a heart or a thumbs up on the emoji panel. And I want to thank everybody for joining us today and meeting Theresa and spending time with us and learning how to be a little better organized. So Theresa, thank you for your time today. It's so good to see you via Zoom. I can't wait to see you in person again in the next month and a half, maybe, or at least a month and a half, right? Mm-hmm. And I wish you well and continued success in all that you're doing. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Brad. Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.